morning or good afternoon, depending on the time of day where you are right now. It is Billy, it is I from the MANvFAT Wales YouTube channel, and what you're about to see is a video with Newport's Simon Phillips. In typical Billy broadcaster fashion, the bit of the video we're going to jump into is me asking Simon, is there anything I should ask him in particular, and what questions I intend to ask him, like I always do. And while we're doing that, he goes into an incredible little excerpt about himself. So didn't want to start an intro again after that. So here's your intro, and here's Simon. We'll just riff around that. Like, is there anything in particular? We'll talk about your injury probably. Is there...
I'm going to say I've had 3 injuries. So, yeah, I've had my knee. Yeah, I pulled my hamstring, which was quite sore. My leg was black for that as well. And yeah, broke a couple of ribs. So
we'll talk about all those. Is there anything...
But I don't want to put people off.
Well, no, but I think your resilience is the opposite of putting people off. I think that's really strong. But, like, can we talk... is there anything like particularly that's worked for you with MANvFAT that hasn't worked before that I could mould into a question?
Not really. It's the same as, because I do watch these interviews, it's the same as everyone else has said, it's the accountability. That's the problem. I basically I used to be really fit. I used to do half marathons. Really? I used to just go running for like 3 hours, 4 hours. I love running. And I used to do all that and then go to the gym. Or I used to work night shift at Sainsbury's, so I'd run to work. I'd just spend 2 hours running to work, do a whole night shift, power and stuff for it, and then run home. But then
that is hyper levels of activity.
Yeah, I know. I was super fit, and then I've had a couple of personal tragedies. So my mum died, and then I just kind of fell into the trap of eating, and eating became my addiction, shall we say. I can see it parallels with like if you're an alcoholic, or if you're on drugs.
It's exactly feeling you get.
Yeah, and so for 10 years I just ate. Well, 5 years, then I was getting myself back on track. Well, about 6 years. Then my dad died, and then I was just like, I just went back there, and it was just, yeah, it was like the world's slowest suicide, should we say. I knew I was going downhill. Like, I couldn't think, like, how many toilet seats I fucking broke by sitting on them, or I went to do, like, forklift training when I worked at Wilco. Couldn't put the harness on, so I couldn't do it. But little things like that, it just never really chipped away. And then just suddenly something clicked, and I was like, partly because me and my wife started fostering. So I was telling the kids, oh, you need to eat this, you need to do this. And then I kind of just jumped on the scales, and one night it was just like, fucking hell, I need to sort myself out.
Do you remember what that was, that scale weight?
28.12, Christmas Day.
28 stone, 12 pounds.
12 pounds. So I just, that was Christmas Day. And then I spent the week running up to New Year just researching things. I just trying to lose weight. And I knew I'd kind of fall off the wagon. So I needed something to make me accountable. And yeah, I found it. And yeah, it's just kept me going since. But yeah, like, I lost a bit of weight before I came here, but I just knew that I would fall off. So I looked at like Slimming World, Weight Watchers, all things like that.
Did you check any of those out in the flesh?
No, I have done Slimming World before.
Yeah, me too.
But I just found it was just very cliquey with all the old women. There was never anything for men.
You are often the only man in that room, aren't you? Yeah. The one I went to was when I lived at home, and I maybe one other guy, but I think he was the son of one of the like people that weighed you in and gave you a certificate when you hit a pound or however many pounds you need to.
Everyone claps you.
Yeah, and I kind of like that, but I think there's nothing that keeps you there. I'm for men. Obviously, I think it's a great tool for women. I've seen lots of women have great success with Slimming World, but I think there's like an element of don't want to say fierceness, but that raw competition that you get here, like, in order to be successful at weight loss, you need to enjoy the process, and this is underpinning this to your process is such a powerful way, I think, of making it more enjoyable.
Absolutely.
We're not going to cut any of that, but I probably would have filmed another intro to go at the beginning of this because that was already powerful. So you joined at the start of 2023, early 2023?
Yeah, January.
It was January.
Yeah, pretty sure it was January. Beginning of the season.
Okay.
So this is my third season.
First new team. I remember you walking through the door, and I remember being on my team. I just remember amazing losses week after week. Like, my favourite Simon moment, which I probably would have told later, but I'll tell it now, is when we were drawn against each other in the knockout competition.
Yeah.
And I was really going for this competition. I was like, right, okay, I got Simon. I really need to put an effort in this week. And I did, and I lost 1.8. I went to the gym before, and I didn't drink all day. And I was like, I text you from the gym, like, going for it. And you're like, oh, I've just walked the kids to school. And then I think you lost like 3.6 that week. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. What's been your highlight? Do you have one?
I would probably say my last match for playing for Hefty. I think it's the best match I played. I did break my rib. Well, a couple of ribs in that match.
That's about
I didn't realise it. I just thought I winded myself. Basically, I had my hands up there. Just someone ran with the ball. I went to just block them. They ran into me. Just kind of punched myself in the rib. And I just thought, winded myself a little bit there. But that match, I just kept going. And a bit like tonight, just getting in the way of the ball. I'm terrible with the ball. I'm not brilliant at passing and got no skill, but I just try and get in the way and make it difficult to get around me. And that was the game I thought, I actually enjoyed the football, because up until then, I enjoyed the weight loss, but the football, I was almost dreading. I was thinking, really? I know I'm gonna mess up tonight. I know I'm gonna give the ball away, but that match made me realise, do you know what? I can actually do this.
That's brilliant.
I run around and get out of breath. Everyone obviously does, but I just left it all out there for that match. But unfortunately, woke up the next morning, couldn't sit up. A couple of days later, went to the hospital. They said, "Yeah, you probably just bruised it. Well, we don't normally X-ray. We just normally give the same advice, but we'll X-ray it." And then they said, "Oh, yeah, you have broken a couple of ribs." So I was like, "Oh, great."
How many weeks was that?
That was, I think I was out for about 6 weeks for that.
6 weeks. And that wasn't your first injury, was it?
No. Second match in my first season. I think I didn't anticipate how good the football would be here. So I did my research, looked online, saw loads of, shall we say, just happy fat people playing football.
Happy fat people!
And I thought,
that's the title.
That looks okay. They're going to just go there, have a little bit of a jog around, and it'll be a bit of a laugh. Turned up, no, it's quite serious.
It's a good standard.
In a good way. And in a good way, because it's helped me try to up my level. If you know what I mean. I never played football much when I was younger. I was more rugby.
Yeah.
I had a kick around with my mates and things like that, but nothing serious. And I just, second match, I just casually got to the ball, went to pass it back to the goalkeeper, and then had a bit of a nudge. I can't even remember who it was.
I do.
Because
I remember.
I had a bit of a nudge, and then my head slammed into the board, and I twisted my knee. And
that was more than 6 weeks, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I was out for about 10. Yeah, I think I came back on week 11, 10 or 11.
But you continued, right? You continued to weigh every week. What was it about? And I know you mentioned accountability at the beginning, but what was it about that accountability that made you want to keep showing up and keep delivering? Like we talked about it at the beginning, where you said, saw my weight and wanted to drive on. But is there anything granular that you think this is it? I'm going to keep going. What stopped you being derailed? I guess is my question.
Being part of a team, and I genuinely think, and this is nothing against the other teams, but I feel like I was in the perfect team when I came. Everyone probably says that. Like for them, their team is perfect, but for me, my team was perfect. Pete was captain. Obviously, the trio of Pete, Mike, and Ross were just, that's what kept me going. And I wanted to come down, obviously, as soon as I could drive. I managed to get down and start watching matches and just still being part of the team, even though I was injured, and feeling as though I was still contributing.
It was special. I remember you speaking to me one week and like, I'm just not sure if I should be taking up a space. And I was like, absolutely, you should be taking up space. Like, it's going really well. And then also you talked to Mike, who just spoke so much better than I did about why you should stay. And obviously went on to do amazing things. And I think you are right. Everyone enjoys the team that they're put in. But I could see from the outside eventually when I moved teams that the match of Simon and Hefty was a very good one, but I think you'd be hard pushed to put someone in Hefty and it not be a good match unless they were good at football, which was almost a quota.
Yeah.
We can't have any footballers here.
No
offense to Baddy, of course. Baddy knows how to play football.
Yeah.
And Ross knows the rules.
Yeah.
So what's the goal for you? What's the stake in the sand?
Well, I've got goals away from here and goals here. Obviously, I've hit my 20% this season. I'm struggling a bit with the scales.
Yeah.
I know why, but it's more just finding myself. Even though the weight's not coming off, I feel a lot fitter. I'm starting going out running again.
Are you?
During the week, yeah. I mean, it's not very fast, but I am going out a couple of times a week. Just for an hour or so, just going for a gentle bit of a walk, bit of a jog, bit of a walk, and just I'm actually enjoying being fit. This season, I want to hit my next milestone, 25%. The weeks are going fast, but I'm pretty confident I'll get near there.
They are going quick. It's week 8 this week.
I know.
That's crazy. It's going so fast.
I know. So hit my next milestone this season and then just try and crack on and sort my eating out a little bit more.
That has to have changed, though, right? That has to have improved significantly.
Oh, it has. My decision making with what I decide to eat, like I touched on earlier, I feel in the past I've almost been addicted to food and I haven't needed it, I haven't wanted it. But it's just, it was just a need for it, but I didn't know that I didn't need it. Whereas now, if I've got a choice, instead of going for a takeaway, I'll make something at home. Or instead of, I used to eat so many crisps. I
love crisps. Crisps are great.
Yeah. Big share packs to myself. That I wouldn't ever have a little packet. It'd always go for the share bag. But it's just making better options and better choices and just
to make you a better cook.
I wasn't a bad cook anyway, but I'm very structured. So I will eat if I'm on it. I will eat the same thing all the time. I'll have one night off a week, maybe 2, but the rest of the time it's practically the same thing. If I tend to deviate from that, that's where my problems arise. So,
what's your favourite meal when you're on it and when you're having your night off? Saw your eyes change there.
Night off, it always used to be a takeaway. But I'm actually starting to come away from that. So like after the match, I used to just order a takeaway when I got home and just sit and eat until I fell asleep, basically.
Okay.
now I tend to try and prepare my food. Yeah, it's all about the food prep. So I try and make myself pasta before
Yeah, okay.
before I come to football, so I know I've got something at home
So
to look
that's
forward to.
ready for when you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
back.
I hate waste. That's my biggest problem with food.
Mm.
Always has been in the past, and it's hard.
I think it's a crutch a lot of
Yeah,
boys lean on, right?
yeah.
When they get overweight and they get bigger. Oh, I just hate waste. Yeah, but
Mm,
okay, no one wants to waste, but do
no.
you need to eat
I can say it's hard when you got kids as well because
that? Mm.
you see the kids waste. You're like, oh, I could just finish that.
Mm.
The best tip for that is just getting a couple of dogs because they'll eat all the leftovers then instead of you. So it's quite
Well,
good.
I probably won't do that. My parents had a dog and we just never vibed.
Yeah.
I swore since I would never get a dog.
Yeah, I think having dogs, having kids is probably my key to losing the weight.
There you are, fat boys. Have children. Done.
Walk to school, do the school runs. So I walk there, walk
Mm.
back, do that every day. By the time I come home in the morning, if I get a chance, walk the dogs.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just constant walking. It's. I'd love to join a gym, just don't have time.
That's boring.
Yeah.
Mind you, you enjoy running, so
Well,
maybe you'll enjoy the gym too.
I don't know. For me, it's the going out on my own. I like running on my own and just shutting off.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I remember when I was really big, and I can't remember how much. I think it might have been 124.12. No, 24.12 was my biggest. And I remember I thinking, right, running is the answer. And I would go out and I would run and I would push through all this pain. And then when it stopped hurting, I had that headspace. I get it when I play football because in between the whistles, like nothing else matters to me. Like I just don't think about anything else. Just think about the game, and then it all comes back just shortly after we stop playing. And I think there's a few things like that. It's almost like meditation in a way because nothing else is coming in. You're just doing that one thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when that pain went away for running, I was like, this is good. I would like to run, but I got a bit to shift before it stops hurting again.
I mean, that's my aim away from this is just to get out and run, and that's my time. So I have 3 kids at home.
2 dogs.
3 kids, 2 dogs. Yep, and it's just constantly busy. So for me to just go out and have that run, get that headspace, that's just brilliant. And by coming here, that's given me that.
To go from the super fit Simon that you were to the Simon that joined us to the Simon now, this is a process, right? Where would you say you are on your journey, and what's left to do for you on that journey? That's really deep. That's the deepest question I've ever asked.
As in time wise, or
I guess is there anything that's coming up? Like any more hurdles that you need to overcome?
A lot of the hurdles I've had are mental hurdles.
Yeah.
And I feel I've got through them or I will have with my first year from being here. So it's always the anniversaries of things, or it's like the beginning of last season. Yeah, so my grandma died. That could have quite easily taken me back, and it didn't. So a lot of these hurdles I am getting over now, and it's just gradual. I think time wise, in about a year's time, I'm hoping to be down to what weight I want to be, and comfortable and happy. Really, that's what it's about.
Yeah,
it's about being happy, and this is doing so much for me.
I think we could quite easily keep talking or film a part 2. I think we'll probably film a part 2 when you're a bit further down the line. But it's been an absolute pleasure today being on the team with you this season and meeting you back in January. I've seen such a change physically, of course, but to hear about the mental changes as well, and the stuff that's like not the stuff that actually matters, because both of those things matter, but like the real life stuff that you have to deal with. It doesn't go away. To hear that that's getting easier, I really love that story. You know, when your grandma passed away, it didn't derail you, and you were able to get through that without sabotaging. So that's really great to hear. So thank you for sharing that.
That's all right.
I asked the same question at the end of all of these, as you know, as one of the 2 people that listened, or 3 people, Cronin as well. So I'll finish on that, although it feels like we've covered it. But what would you say to somebody who was thinking about joining the program, who wasn't sure?
I would probably just say, don't think about it. Just get yourself down here. It's got everything. Me personally, I don't have a lot of time apart from a Friday night. But if you have a lot of time, there's so much more. There's Wednesday nights you can get involved in. I believe there's a team on a Monday. There's an 11 side.
Oh,
there's everything. If you're into the football, yeah, you can play loads. Or if you want to be really social on WhatsApp, there's so many groups, and you could just be constantly on the groups. Or if you just want to be like me and just come in on a Friday, get weighed, get on with it. It's got everything you can ask for every person out there.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Oh, that was wonderful. One of my favourites.
That was it.
Oh.